Your hand is already moving before your mind catches up. You feel a small buzz in your pocket. Your fingers respond before your brain finishes the sentence, "Should I check that?" You pull out your phone. You unlock it. You look. And half the time, there was no notification at all. You imagined it. This happens to you dozens of times a day. But the real answer for why is far stranger than distraction or bad habits. It has almost nothing to do with your phone. It has everything to do with a survival system that is millions of years old, one built long before screens, long before electricity, long before written language existed at all. Your ancestors needed a system like this to stay alive. You inherited it. And now it is aimed at a glowing rectangle instead of a rustling bush. Let's go back. Way back. 200,000 years ago, your ancestors lived in small bands on open grassland. Every sound mattered. A snapped twig could mean wind. It could also mean a leopard. The humans who paused, scanned, and checked survived. The humans who ignored small signals did not get a second chance. Over hundreds of thousands of generations, this created a brain wired for one core instruction. Notice everything that might be new information and check it immediately. Neuroscientists call this the orienting response. It was first studied in detail by Russian physiologist Ivan Pavlov, who noticed that animals would instinctively turn toward any new or unexpected stimulus, even one with no reward attached. Not because they expected food, just because it was new. Newness itself was the trigger. Your brain still runs this exact program. And your phone is the most efficient generator of newness that has ever existed. Here's where it gets stranger. You might think checking your phone is driven by wanting something good, a nice message, a funny video, a like on a photo. But that's only half the story. The deeper driver isn't reward, it's uncertainty. In the 1990s, psychologist B.F. Skinner's earlier work on reinforcement was revisited by behavioral researchers studying something called variable ratio reinforcement. This is the same mechanism that makes slot machines so powerful. If a reward comes every single time you do something, your brain gets mildly interested. But if a reward comes unpredictably, sometimes yes, sometimes no, no clear pattern, your brain becomes obsessed. Uncertainty, it turns out, is more addictive than certainty. Think about that for a second. Your phone almost never tells you exactly when something good will appear. A notification might be a meaningless app update. It might be a message from someone you've been waiting to hear from. You don't know until you look. That not knowing is the hook. Your brain treats every unlock like a tiny gamble, and like any gambler, you keep pulling the lever because the last time might be the time it pays off. But there's a second, older layer underneath even that. Your body doesn't know the difference between social threat and physical threat. To your nervous system, being ignored by a friend and being stalked by a predator activates strikingly similar alarm circuits. This idea was explored extensively by social psychologist Naomi Eisenberger, who ran brain imaging studies showing that social rejection lights up the same regions of the brain associated with physical pain, not similar regions, the same ones. This matters, because for most of human history, social standing was survival. If your tribe rejected you, you didn't just feel embarrassed. You lost access to food, protection, and mating opportunities. Isolation could kill you as surely as a wild animal could. So your brain evolved to treat, does my group still accept me, as a life or death question, checked constantly, monitored obsessively. Now put a phone in that ancient brain's hands. Every text, like comment and read receipt, becomes a tiny piece of social information. Am I still accepted? Did that message mean something? Why haven't they replied? Your phone didn't invent this anxiety. It simply became the fastest possible way to ask the question your ancestors have been asking around every campfire for 200,000 years. Here's the twist, though, the part that flips the whole story upside down. You might assume this urge to check is a flaw, a weakness, something broken in you specifically. It isn't. It's actually a sign that your brain is working exactly as designed. The problem isn't your willpower. The problem is the environment. Your instincts were built for a world with maybe a few dozen social signals a day, a handful of unexpected sounds, one or two real decisions about safety. Your instincts were never built for a device engineered by teams of behavioral designers to maximize the exact orienting response your ancestors needed for leopards. This is not an accident. Former tech insiders, including researchers who studied persuasive design at Stanford's Behavior Design Lab under psychologist B.J. Fogg, have described in detail how notification systems, infinite scroll, and unpredictable rewards were deliberately built using these same psychological principles, not to help you, to keep your ancient orienting response firing as often as possible. So when you feel your hand reach for your phone before you've even decided to, understand what's actually happening. 200,000 years of survival programming just detected a potential signal. Your prefrontal cortex, the newer, slower, more rational part of your brain, hasn't even caught up yet. The older brain moved first. It always does. It was built to. Does this mean you're powerless? No. But it does mean the fight isn't about discipline in the way you've been told. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer ancient alarms going off in the first place. Turning off unnecessary notifications isn't weakness. It's removing false leopards from your grassland. Silencing your phone during focused work isn't avoidance. It's protecting the same attention system your ancestors needed to actually watch for real danger, instead of wasting it on a marketing team's push notification. Here's something worth sitting with. The next time you catch yourself glancing at a dark screen for no reason, you're not seeing a personal failure. You're watching a 200,000-year-old survival instinct try to do its job in a world it was never designed for. It's not asking, is there a good video for me? It's asking the same question it always asked. Is something out there? Do I need to look? Am I safe? Your ancestors survived by checking constantly. You inherited their vigilance. Somewhere between the savannah and your pocket, that vigilance got hijacked. Not by weakness, but by design. Your hand was already moving before your mind caught up. Now you know why. It was never really about the phone at all.